how to take ownership of your opportunities. It feels a bit strange because if you already have the opportunity, you don't have to take ownership of it. What would be the learning point there? I don't really get it. But a lot of people have opportunity in their life and very little comes from it. Because either they don't feel like they own it, or they don't feel like it belongs to them, or they don't feel like they deserve it, and they don't really give it the power and the potency that they really could be affording that part in their life. Opportunity will find you. No matter where you are, no matter what it is that's happening in your life, if you look for it, you will find an opportunity. Why? Because all that opportunity is perspective and connection. And the reason for that is because the way in which you look at the world, perspective, will determine the amount of opportunities that you find, that you see in your life. At the same time, if you see connection as a way to bridge or create opportunity, that is your way of finding and broadening out the potentials, the possibilities in your life. So if we agree that opportunity is perspective, how we look at the world, and connection, the doors that are open because of the people around us, if we agree that that's the case, then we are filled with potential and opportunities. So what gets in the way of us taking on certain pieces and letting go of others, and what stands in our way of not owning our opportunity? So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is whether or not you believe that you deserve the opportunity. So have you ever been in a situation where someone says to you, I think that you would be incredible at it, and your automatic response is, no, I won't be? It's because there's a part of you that feels like you don't deserve that opportunity. Either you haven't done anything to earn it in your mind, or you're not skilled, or you don't believe that you've got the ability to be able to do it, or you just don't see what that person sees in you. In that way, we need to start talking about what it means to feel this lack of deserving when it comes to the potential in our lives and the possibilities and opportunities that life affords us. So the first thing to talk about when we talk about what stands in our way of taking ownership of our opportunities, the most obvious place to start is to talk about ourselves. We are the first obstacle when it comes to the opportunities in our life, not only because of how we see the world or how we treat the people that could open doors for us and open new worlds of opportunity in our lives. The first person who's in our way is us. And a lot of the time, it is not because of how we interpret the world, it is because of how we believe the world interprets us. So, if someone were to say to you, I think that you would be incredible at this particular thing, or maybe you should go try that, or whatever it is, that anxiety, that insecurity, the fear, all comes from how you believe the world sees you. A lot of the time, our insecurity and our anxiety has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with how we believe the world sees us. It's our story about how we fit in the world and what we're capable of doing and what we're not capable of doing. The first step to owning opportunities is to believe that we're entirely capable of achieving it, finishing it, and extracting the value for other people that there is to collect. So in that way, our first obstacle in understanding how we can best own our opportunities is to start looking at how are we getting in the way. Do we believe that it's ours to have? Do we believe that that opportunity is there for us to take? Or do we believe that we're somehow going to mess it up? Is that the story that we tell ourselves? Is there going to be someone who will be better and then show us up that we aren't as good and that we aren't needed and that we aren't beautiful and special and unique and can bring our own abilities, strengths and skills to that particular problem? Do we say no to ourselves long before the rest of the world does? Why? Because we expect the world to. We expect that the world will say, no, sit down. Sit down, this is not for you. This opportunity, don't even try. We convince ourselves that that's what the world says. And in that way, stop ourselves and don't take ownership of our opportunities. So here's what I've got to tell you. If the opportunity exists in your world, in other words, you have seen it, and or someone has shown it to you, opened that door for you, it is because you've earned it. It is that thing of you cannot think something or feel something that doesn't belong to you. It all comes from us, therefore we've earned it, therefore it's in us. That doesn't mean that if you have an idea that you mustn't go and figure out the best way to achieve that idea. But I promise you that if you've thought about it, if you can see that this is something that I should be doing, or if someone else sees it in you and there's a part of you that really wishes it could be true, then it's yours for the taking. If that thing is true in yourself, if there's a part of you that knows, I could be doing this, if that thought exists, it already is yours. You don't need the permission of anyone. You don't need to be waiting for anyone to give you the validation or the sense of certainty that that belongs to you. If you've thought it, then it's there for you to take. End of story. The thing that happens to me is that when I get to a certain position where I've been working and I've been working and I've been working, and there was a particular landmark that I was trying to reach, and once I get there, I'm already aiming so further along that there's no point in even celebrating this landmark that I've reached, because I'm already ahead in my story. I'm already aiming further. One of the things that is easy to forget in this stretching out of landmarks and achieving and then projecting and creating a future is that you forget where you've been. This is what I want you to remember. You have worked hard to get where you are today. It's easy to forget the road that you've traveled. It's easy to doubt yourself and your ability because your ambition is so large. You've done everything that you've needed to be able to see the opportunity, and therefore it belongs to you. Do me a favor. Respect yourself by respecting your opportunity. The second thing to think about is preparing properly and meaningfully. And what that means is that once the opportunity has presented itself and you've seen, this is for me, I'm going to do it, I'm proud of myself, I can see that I can do this is what I'm going to do. And then what people lack sometimes is the presence of mind and the knowing that there is an incredible amount of preparation that's needed to be able to do the job properly. So often we stand in our way by thinking and being overconfident in our abilities that we actually do not respect the opportunity enough by preparing. We must be ready for opportunities because there are levels in complexity and subtlety and detail in every single opportunity that we face. And to not prepare properly is not respecting that opportunity and therefore not respecting ourselves. So the way in which you prepare gets to be a ritual. Have a way in which you prepare for a particular opportunity, a particular task. You can define it for yourself. Everyone's got different steps. Some people want to do a lot of research and figure out exactly what it's going to take. Some people go and they learn from people in autobiographies and they want to understand the thinking behind it. That's how I am. First place I go when I've got a new opportunity is I try to sink into the established thinking, the best practice thinking, the strategies of what to do, and then I figure out what tasks and what skills I need to learn to be able to do it properly. So prepare properly and meaningfully. And what do I mean by meaningfully? Meaningfully is incredibly simple to understand. If you were to look back at the work that you're doing now to prepare for the opportunity that is laying in front of you, if you were to look back at it, is there a part of you that would know that I could have done it better? I could have worked a little harder. If there's a part of you that could possibly regret not working harder, then you should be putting in that effort now so that you can avoid that regret later on. Because, and this is where it gets tricky, say you do prepare properly and you convince yourself that you've done it properly and you fail, and you don't do well, you're going to look back and you're going to go, did I prepare properly? It's even worse when you know that you were slacking. and you were kind of just taking it easy and like overconfident. You've got it, right? Finding that balance between knowing that you've done your best and taking the failure, which might happen, taking that failure and turning it into a learning opportunity rather than a regret of looking back and saying, I should have done this, I should have done this, to look forward. That's a skill. That balance is a skill. It's a dance that we play as people who bet on ourselves and want to have the best for ourselves. So the strategy that I recommend when it comes to preparing meaningfully is over-prepare. Be ready for the unexpected. Be so ready, understand the landscape of your opportunity so thoroughly that there's nothing possible that could come your way that you aren't ready for. Expect the worst, enjoy the best. This is such a big one. Self-awareness. Trust in your strengths and know what you suck at, please. I heard this beautifully said recently. Someone said, instead of how, think of who. And what does that mean? So many people, when they're starting out, they want to be everything to everyone, including the projects that they're in. Instead of thinking, who do I know that's really good at this? Who can I include in what it is that needs to be done? Most people don't want to rely on people. So they rather go the how direction instead of the who direction. The how direction is, I'm going to have to teach myself how to do this. So you spend months or sometimes weeks teaching yourself something because of the fear of having to rely on someone. Know your strengths, stick to it. Focus on double down on what it is that you're good at, and find people you can trust who are passionate about what it is that you're doing, who can contribute their own strengths in the places that maybe you are a little bit lacking. Have that self-awareness. The trick is to be proud of the parts of you that are beautiful and strong and incredible at particular skills and tasks, but to have the humility and the grace to be able to say, this is something I'm not as strong at, can you please help me? So there's a choice that you've got to make, and the choice is really simple. Would you rather just focus on your strengths, the stuff that you probably enjoy, the stuff that you worked at to become better at? Would you rather do that and trust that other people can bring their own beauty and genius to what it is that you're doing? Or are you going to do less of what you enjoy doing because of the fear of trusting in other people? That's the dance that you've got to decide. You've got to decide what it is that you're going to do. Are you going to enjoy it and trust, or are you going to enjoy it less and then compensate by learning everything that you possibly need to do? It's a mistake. You are only one person. You cannot do 250 different tasks. Rather grow what you're doing and expand, and by expanding include people, fellow travelers who believe in what it is that you want to be doing. So how does that build into your opportunity? It's really simple. Take the opportunity and map it out, and then deconstruct it and map it out into pieces that belong to you and pieces that just doesn't. Find the people who the areas of your opportunity, find the people who those areas might belong to. Share it with them. Take the opportunity, break a piece off and give it to them. I promise you, if you can allow someone to do what they love, they will be your friend for life. This might be my favorite part of this particular article. And I think it's because it's so subtle and it could be overlooked so easily. And I think that when it comes to work, this is something that I look for, and I know that a lot of other people don't look for. So, we've talked about owning it for ourselves. In other words, believing that we deserve it. We've talked about preparing for it, because even though we might deserve it, it might not mean that we're ready. So, what's left? You've got to find yourself in your work. So this isn't about being prepared. This isn't about what it says about me. Now it's about what it says about where I'm going. In other words, how are you going to take this opportunity that you have and invest yourself to grow exponentially? How are you going to look at this opportunity, this next phase of your life, this thing that you're going to deep dive into and make it as meaningful for you and your collaborators as possible? But do the work, follow the strategy, but have a part of you that is looking at things from the outside and goes, how does what I'm doing fit into the story of my life? How does what I'm doing make sense in how I want to grow as just a person? How do I want to use this particular opportunity to break down and learn new skills? How can I further myself, not just in terms of my working life, but also my personal life? How can I find myself in my work? So the easy ways to do this: get yourself a diary, a work diary, and slowly but surely unpack what this project means to you, because how you feel about it at the beginning might be very different from how you feel about it 6 months from now. In other words, think of your work as a relationship, the idea of your work as a relationship. At the beginning, the idea of your work is super exciting, and it speaks to everything that makes you feel good about yourself. Just like meeting a partner for the very first time when it just feels right. You know that feeling? Work is exactly the same. So what you can do is you can look at it down the line, because sometimes when you meet that special someone 6 months down the line, you're still good to go. Things are still happy. Maybe they're not. Maybe 6 months down the line, that relationship has kicked up all kinds of other things that you didn't even know was inside of you. Our relationships are our mirrors. And if that's true, the same can be said about our work. When we suddenly were so excited, 6 months down the line, we are hating this job, what does it say about us? Because the situation hasn't changed. Our perspective within it has changed. Again, opportunity is perspective and connection. How do you find yourself within it? So you could do what most people do, which is, dude, it's work. You're complicating things now. You're thinking too deeply about this. And I get that. And if you don't want to think about it in this way, that's totally cool. But me, part of the fun, part of the opportunity is to see what I can take from this opportunity. To be able to harness all of it, I need to think about how I fit within that opportunity over a period of time, because it's all part of the story. So you got to ask yourself, what can I bring to this opportunity? So that's the self-awareness part. But there's also, you've got to take something. And I get that there's money and stuff, but there's so much more that you can take from that experience. The relationships that you're going to build, the new challenges you're going to face. How are you going to measure up? What are the stresses? Where are your pain points? These are all opportunities to get to know yourself, because you want to get better every step of the way. The only way to do that is to think about how you fit into the story of this opportunity that you're about to embark on, or maybe have already. You cannot own the opportunity if you do not own your growth in your attempt to achieve it. I love that. I love that because it speaks to an endeavor as a journey, not just towards something, but to enlarge our understanding of ourselves. So we are all going in a particular direction, but we can all walk there and not think about a thing, or we can walk there and think about everything. Take all of what makes us interesting and makes us worthwhile to ourselves, and we get to take that with. And that's what's fun for me, is that when I take on a project, I'm not just watching what's happening around me and the progress of the project. I'm also thinking about, how am I showing up? What impact am I having on the people around me? How can I grow even more? What do these challenges mean for me in a bigger sense, not just in a business sense, in a bigger sense? And then I get to ask myself, this challenge that I'm facing, is this a work challenge? Or is this just a me challenge? And that changes the importance of that challenge, because sometimes if it's a business challenge, you can sometimes just go, maybe this is not for me right now. If it's a you challenge, then that challenge is going to find you wherever you go, no matter what you do. Because that challenge is there waiting for you, because it says something about you. So you can either deal with it now and give it the importance and the gravity it requires, or you can ignore it. Me, that's the best part. The last part is my favorite, but I think this is the most important. You have to give yourself over to your intention. If your intention is good and you're coming from a place that is sacred and mission orientated, and you have crafted a big picture around what your endeavor or your work will mean, not just for you, but the impact that it'll have, and therefore the meaning that it'll have for you, the community that you're trying to serve. If you focus on the big picture, if you focus on the mission, you are truly owning that opportunity, because it means that the opportunity doesn't exist purely for you or the people around you, but it serves a community of people whose problems you are solving, because that's the purpose, right? There's a person out there who needs what it is that you're doing. When you focus on the big picture, it's easy to change things inside of the story, inside of the project or the business. You can change things. If you're listening to the audience, you can shape the perfect solution for that person. When you allow yourself to be agile and to be creative and to focus on the audience and listening and taking part in the dialogue of what's being told to you about how you can best solve the problem. When you focus on the mission, that's when you're owning the opportunity, because the opportunity is constantly staying the same and constantly changing. That's what makes it fun, is that yes, you're always solving the same core problem, but the tiny variants, the tiny chapters in the wanting to do it the best way, that's constantly changing. Now you can see those challenges as something that you're not ready for, or you can see it as anxiety provoking, and we can go all the way back to the opportunity and why it's difficult to own it. Or you can see each one of those as stepping stones, as different dance moves, as jazz, as something that you get to make up as you go along, because you believe in your ability, because of step number one, because you know that you're ready. When you have that certainty, you get to dance with the idea. You get to dance with the mission. You get to dance with the big picture, because you know that you've owned it, and you know where you are focused and where your intention is coming from. If your intention is coming from a place to serve, you will be forgiven for the small mistakes. But if you put your intention in a place where it doesn't serve the person that you're trying to help, that is when the mistakes become huge. And that's when your focus goes away from the opportunity. And that is when things that seem negative and the sense of failure, all those things become very, very personal. When we focus on helping other people, we absolve ourselves from a personal responsibility in a way, because to do the right thing means that there are small mistakes along the way that are forgivable. When you're not doing the right thing, those small mistakes become massive. Because if you're being selfish in the work that you're doing, if it's purely for profit, and then you somehow still make mistakes, it just speaks to your selfishness. That's why large companies, we have such resentment for when they make a mistake, because we know that they're actually not serving us. We know that they don't even know who we are. That's why the resentment comes. But when a company, regardless of its size, generally takes an interest in us, and we feel as if the company is listening, because the company is attending to its big picture, its mission, that we get to benefit because of, make a small mistake, we forgive you. So when you operate in a big picture, mission-orientated way of thinking, you get to step back and see it for what it is, and your audience will as well. That for me is truly owning your opportunity. When you can own your opportunity to a position, when you can own your opportunity so thoroughly that your audience can forgive you for small mistakes, that they are collaborating with you They're taking part with you because they see the big vision. They see where you're going because you're transparent and you're telling a story. Because you've owned your opportunity. All right, guys, those are my suggestions. That's how I'm thinking right now about these things. I'm glad that I get to share it with you guys. If you have any thoughts, just say hi, and then I'll say hi back, and we'll do the talking thing, which I like. That's why I'm doing this. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So if you guys want to reach out to me, please do. It'll be awesome. Otherwise, if you don't want to say hi to me but still like the video, hey, it was pretty, just like a pity like, just like a compassionate like. Like, it's not going to cost you. Like, just move the, and then it's done. And then it means a lot to me, to you. You don't even have to think about it again. Thank you so much, guys. I hope that you liked it, and thank you, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay.